the recruits that we're bringing in, and we know what we're going to get out of the portal. I'm going to go grab a couple mature young men out of the portal, and we've already have this thing mapped out.
Then you got your Isaiah Hard. Then you got the true freshman Quentin Get. It's too many options. Deion Sanders is the people's champ when it comes to the transfer portal, an advocate for change, as well as somebody who uses it a quite good deal. But before it even opens, Deion Sanders has secured himself two nice player, an offensive line to bolster the OL, and then another wide receiver, a big, bad body wide receiver. So we're going to check it out, and we're also going to, of course, hear from Deion Sanders. We're going to hear from recent transfer Kaden Salter. He had some opinions about some things going on, and just a few rounds around the Colorado area. And then if we have time, we'll check out the transfer portal because people are hitting it every single second. Like while I'm recording this, people are hopping in there. So let's hop right into it, man. We're going to start with the words from Deion Sanders. This is from a Well-Off Media video clipped in a TikTok.
See, a lot of y'all in here like the hype of it, but you don't like the work of it. You want everybody to talk about you. You want them to tweet you. You want them to follow you. You want them to like you. You want them to even love your page, but you don't want to work. Fellas, you'll be calling one of your coaches, asking for a hookup, asking for a referral, and you know we don't lie. This stuff is coming to an end, fellas. Y'all better turn it on. You better turn it on because there's some folks outside this door would love to be in your seats. And some people are coming to be in your seats. I promise you that. Because the best ability is what ability? Not just available because you hurt, but available to give it your all. Today I expect you all. We starting out with competition. After we go Indy, the ball's gonna be on the 5 for one play. The ball's gonna be on the 3 for the next play.
And he just goes deeper into like the game that they're playing at practice. But that was just a few days before signing both of these players. So let's get deeper into this. By the way, shout out to Jake Schwartz again. Him, Scott Proctor, any of the DNVR people. If you're a Colorado fan for football, you got to be following them on X. So these are the players that Colorado added in last year's just the spring transfer portal. You had former Ohio State Dan Hayes, former Pittsburgh Dan Hayes, former Ohio State Dallin Hayden, Nikai Hill Green, former Michigan player, Michigan and Cincinnati, Charlotte as well. Colton Hood, Zach Owens, R.J. Johnson, Taufik Thomas. I thought Taufik Thomas came this fall portal, I swear, because isn't he from not Tulsa, but anywhere. Isaiah Augustov, and of course 11 more. A nice little haul there. And today, or so far, they're starting off nice. A Cal and UCLA were also in the mix in the last 24 hours. Deion Sanders has picked up a transfer offensive line and wide receiver. So understand that with Deion Sanders' new contract, he did try to get a little more of that NIL money so he could persuade some people. So the fact that Colorado this is not the first time Deion Sanders has beat out big schools, but continues to beat out schools even on the West Coast. Presumably more built-in schools on the West Coast. If you're a West Coast guy, who doesn't want to go to Cal? Who doesn't want to go to UCLA? So he's been able to get those guys away. Campbell, transfer wide receiver Sincere Brown, has committed to Colorado. He's 6'5", a big body, 190 though. You got to put some meat on your bones, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of Big 12 cornerbacks that want to see him run down. And, when you talk about I talk a lot about the dynamism. So y'all going to let me know if I'm wrong or right in the comment section below. But I think what this wide receiver room is doing that the last wide receiver room is doing, and not in a bad way, it's just because they seem to have more. And we'll see who they keep in the portal. But as it's kept right now, they have so much. Like, now you have a 6'5", Megatron type, big, but obviously not as strong and big as Megatron, but big catch radius type guy. Then you've got Omarion Miller, who's 6'4", 6'3", who's still a big body, but, he's a little more smooth and a little more fluid. You have to assume just, because shorter guys are a little more fluid, but he's still got a nice catch radius. He still go up and get her. And then you go to the transfers. You have Mr. Joseph out of Tulsa, and he's a 6'1", 6-footer guy, and he can go up and get it. Then you go down to the young guys in Quanell, who is also a 6-footer who wants to go up and get it. And then as you go smaller, you got the Draylon Millers, who's more of a running back, who's that Debo Samuels type guy. Then you got your Isaiah Harge, who is a true slot type guy. Then you got the true freshman Quentin Get. It's too many options, dog. It's too many options. I'm not about to give y'all a Kendrick Lamar recital, but dynamism, something like that right now in the wide receiver room, I think is going to allow for a good bit of an attack in a certain way. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see who they keep it and how everything lasts. And then something that I know every single Colorado fan is more than happy about, a new offensive line out of Memphis. And again, they usually don't give my guys a good, statistics when it comes to the big boys. We got to get that fixed. But, it was a part of Memphis. Hey, basically a group of 5, power 5-ish on the cusp, or group of 4, whatever it is, the next one below it. Best of 5, is that what they call it? But yeah, man, that's always good to see. It's always good to bolster this offensive line that seems to be sculpting in. I think the real anchor there, obviously, is Seton. I think Cash Cleveland's going to just play wherever he's allowed to play. I've heard Asai Chrysler, I believe is how you say his name. He's been making not only some good strides as the just starting and being on the roster, but also really good strides as being a leader. Jordan Seton is already a vocal leader and a guy that is looked at in that room, in that program as the guy. That's extremely important for your left tackle, for someone who's going to be protecting Kaden or Julian Lewis if he sneaks it out. Now, one last thing. This is more of a rumor. Obviously, we've been talking a lot about the Nico stuff, and there's even more updates. So I'll have an update about Nico probably when Tennessee gets their next transfer. I'll just do that because there's just stuff coming out. Josh Pate was talking about he wanted to sit out since the fall days, so it's a crazy time. But early on, April 11th, he was linked to Colorado. Now this was like in the midst of all the craziness, everybody was figuring things out, and Coach Prime just wanted, hey, Coach Prime be tweeting like Elon Musk, that boy be on there. You know what I'm saying? That boy be seeing stuff. So shout out to Coach Prime because he went ahead and said, hey, not true. God bless, we good. I mean, they've already got a bit of a heated quarterback battle with Julian Lewis and Kaden Salter. And do not forget about Stahl and about those other guys because he's got dogs upon dogs upon dogs. So if we have time, we can hit this throwback video because he kind of speaks on kind of the not formality, but his idea behind how he wants to attack the transfer portal. But first things first, we got some newer videos to look at. And I think we got to start here with Kaden Salter, and then we'll go with some of these throwbacks there. All right, let's hear what Kaden Salter has to say about his experience here.
It starts with your work ethic when you first come in, your attitude, your grit, just them showing them that you want to be there, you want to be a part of that team, you want them to be able to pick you up, and you help them, they help you type situation. Like, oh, I love it. I mean, Juju's coming in not looking his age right now or what grades he's supposed to be in. Juju's coming in looking like an elite freshman quarterback, and I'm loving everything about it. I love competition. We both enjoying it. Of course, I'm an older guy, so some things I'm coaching him up on and helping him out with. Like, it's all competition, and it's gonna be fair if we're gonna be competing. So like, some things he don't know, or some just little things that I see that he can work on about certain players.
And that you love to hear. And of course, it's very important that we hear from Kaden Salter, who is a recent transfer who seems to be competing for that start. Who's, I would say, a bit of the favorite just because of the experience. Not really have anything to say about, Julian's talent, but I think Kaden Salter has been able to show that he can do it with his legs a lot in practice. And like we've talked about when we watch the spring football, it's like, for a team that was dead last in rushing attempts, rushing yards, rushing efficiency in Colorado, having an extra rusher is not going to hurt, right? Having a quarterback who can reliably run, and not just run like, Shador would, get loose for some first downs, but somebody who is, by all intents and purposes, dynamic when it comes to the run game. I think it could add an extra element. And if you've ever played football, when the quarterback starts running, people start staying home. If you start getting a read option going, okay, it's a different type of defense you have to play. You can't fly downhill when you have a guy who can bend that edge like that, and in an offense is kind of holding the edge players, holding that linebacker, really keeping everybody as true to what they need to be, and not be able to get in that bag like defensive coordinators like to do. So I think that's going to be interesting. And of course, he is from Tennessee. He initially committed to Tennessee before getting into trouble, then going to Liberty. So I think it's funny that the Nico to Kaden situation. So I really hope that he starts for the sake of Julian Lewis, for the sake of Colorado, as they, find an identity for the run game. I think it's important to also, find a way to get it done in different ways. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to use all things available. Now, this is less about Deion Sanders and the transfer portal, but more so just about this recruiting that I keep telling y'all about, and his connection to the NFL, that being coached around Deion Sanders, and how that helps in the transfer portal, how that helps in recruiting when you have someone like Devin Hester, just on, random time saying things like this.
It's not a day go by without Deion texting me and we having a conversation. But, I'm just learning a lot from him because he's actually been through everything that I'm getting ready to go through. So getting all the curveballs and the sliders that comes the way of being a parent and having kids that play sports, you couldn't get it from a better guy than Deion Sanders. This kid has started quarterback since a freshman in high school and won state champion from freshman year in high school. Then you talk about college. Every college collegiate ball that he has played, he only missed, I think, one game. He has proven consistently, and that's what you want in a quarterback, consistency, and that's what he has. Travis is a unique player. Can play offense and defense. It's just an athlete that would fit any team in the NFL right now. So whoever decides to draft Travis is going to be one of the most luckiest guys, and they won't regret it. I can assure you that.
And that's interesting. Obviously, he goes deeper on there. It's, talking about Shador and Travis, but that connection there. And again, remember, recruiting is very interesting. You're not just recruiting, as we've seen in the Nico situation, you're not just recruiting kids, right? You're not just recruiting young men trying to make this decision. You're recruiting a family, and that family is going to have a lot to say about it. So when you go to Colorado, as opposed to, and this is crazy, because 2 years ago, the way people were talking about Colorado and Deion Sanders, then now, Colorado is like on the top of the top 5 of where you probably want to send your kid. Think about it. Let's think about it. Alabama, again, just new head coach. They're still figuring things out. They don't know what the true identity is. They can get it figured out, but are they really truly top 5? I don't know. Georgia, maybe, but I mean, they've got the whole, you come down here, you're going to get a Hellcat and a ticket. So I don't know how that works down there in Georgia. You talk about Notre Dame. Well, you gotta have good academics for Notre Dame. So let's just snake that off the list. I just come on, man. Jocks get rocks. You know what I'm saying? If it's NIL money, we ain't trying to do all that, even though phenomenal players come from Notre Dame. I think that it just raises, same thing with Stanford, but not the point. Like, when you think about this nice, loving environment, there's so much new coaches. Where's the tenured coaches at? Where are the top tier tenured coaches that you can be like, oh yeah, that program is trustworthy. The off the field and on the field and pro is a great thing. Now, Deion Sanders needs to do more on the field. Let's not, this isn't a glazing channel, right? Okay, I appreciate Deion Sanders. I am a Deion Sanders fan. Got to do a little more on the field, but off the field, you never hear nothing. Even the biggest, and I'll say this before I'll start Deion, yap again. It's crazy. The biggest negative thing, if I'm trying to make sure I remember, the biggest story that's ever happened negatively, the whole Carmine McLean thing about, there was something. It's hearsay and locker room stuff. That's it. Okay. And even if, let's just say the worst things are worse are true, which they could be true. It's football. I mean, if you ain't been in a football locker room, it's a nasty place. So a lot of nasty things can happen on a lot of different ways. So, well, I do believe that's happening, and it's not a good thing. But just think about that. Think about that. Now think about him sending multiple players to this draft. I don't know the last time there's multiple first rounders coming from Colorado. But that adds a little element. And then, of course, you have a great Devin Hester, not just talking about his effectiveness as a person, but as a head coach. Obviously, you wear so many hats, and effectiveness as a father and a connector of people with young kids and, young kids that are playing the sport. And I mean, how else are you going to trust somebody with your young kid playing a sport other than someone who took their young kid and coached them at every single level? Some people might see that as crazy. Some people might, Shador, has this negative XYZ. No. I think when you go in that portal or you go into high school and now you got to answer to the mom, because you still have to. These are still 18, sometimes 17-year-olds, right? You got to get the write-off there. That connection there, there's a lot to be said like that, because you don't want to get NICO'd, man. So let's hear on some throwbacks. This is Deion talking about NIL and transfer portal with Joel Klatt. And I think after this, we're just going to roll right into this guy if we got the time. And then actually, we'll skip this. We'll go Joel Klatt, and then we'll hit the portal because, I don't want to yap too long here. So let's hear it from it.
I'm old school. I was raised and taught we're going to make it work. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to duck and dodge and leave. If I can't beat this guy out, I'm going to beat him out eventually. We weren't built like that. Now, Hey, man, if you dissatisfied, just get in the portal.
If you're satisfied, and I'm not going to force you to listen to that music this whole time. Sorry, I did not know that music was there, but you got the sentiment, and I think that's a perfect way to segue to this portal. And this is just the rest of this video is just gonna be me yapping about the portal, maybe some potential, places that make sense to go with Colorado. And there's gonna be plenty of basketball players here, but I think even crazier is all the other portal players coming from football entering the portal. You got Michigan defensive back is entering the portal. This is just an hour ago as of recording it. You've got Tulane defensive back entering the portal. You got Georgia Tech defensive back entering the portal. Guys, this was within an hour. Within 2 hours, another offensive lineman, not another offensive lineman, but an offensive lineman. Now, he only made 8 starts over the last 2 seasons, but at the same time, clearly he was somebody who was contributing, somebody who clearly had to make a decision after the spring, in spring program at this point to go ahead and hop in the portal. Interesting conversation there. Another offensive lineman here. Again, within 2 hours. Within 2 hours, those are the basketball players, and they're going crazy. Them boys hopping around too. South Carolina cornerback Emory Floyd. Whoa, I think. Wasn't he a bit of a dog? They're literally showing him in the in the spring game. And this is, again, I am not an old head. I am so pro transfer portal. Do not stop these kids from transferring. But can we get a better transfer window? You telling me these kids go through full spring portal full spring football, play in the spring game, and then hop in the portal? Like that has to be tough. As much as I acknowledge the fact that coaches can do that and coaches can go crazy, at the same time, a coach has to know what his team's going to be. Like, we have to, as much as, hey, let the players get their money, we also have to look at the negative effects that it can happen on a player. Why, at this point, do you think you should go transfer to a new place, even if they give you a bag, and now you have to learn this new system, learn a new place? I move almost every single year coming out of college. I'm still, quote unquote young gentleman. So I'm trying to figure it out, getting the real house mode or whatnot. So I bounced around. So moving is stressful, and not even in the way, because, usually I have what I need to get it moved, blah, blah, blah. Not even in that aspect, but just the moving, like literally changing your, changing the way you do things, changing, how close you are to your Kroger or whatever store you go to, like that mental change, getting everything reset up, like that's a lot for a young man to deal with while also trying to get this deal. And you just did a full, and I know a lot of teams or a lot of fans are like, oh, we gave so much to him. He gave a lot. Like, dog, you just gave a lot. You just went through a full spring program and gave what you could, XYZ element of P, and I guess just didn't get the start, or didn't, who knows what it is? Because, this could be a situation where really, hey, my fam, I got to be closer. Because I feel like that's a situation I'm always going to be like, hey, do what you got to do. Get close to the family. If you're going to go to a smaller school, whatever. But I don't know. In the hypothetical situation of a dude that just wants a better opportunity or is not starting, which I assume is what's going on, when you have this many people right before the portal officially opens, which I believe is this Wednesday, which is the 16th, is going to be the official opening. I thought it was the 18th, but I could be wrong. Again, there's a quarterback that was just 4 hours ago. This is just today. We have all these players. There's a Cal tight end. Now, Deion did lose a tight end, right? So the 6'4", 240-pound tight end that just hopped in the portal might be someone who you might want to look at. We already talked about the man Sincere, Deion Sanders. And to be honest with you, I haven't really been seeing a lot of big moves besides Deion as of late. There's still been some people committing to some places. I believe some of the Stanford guys committed, and we'll do a separate video on that because that's a whole nother situation. You got one of the greatest quarterback prospects of all time, Mr. Andrew Luck, having to tear Stanford floorboards up. But hey, that's just how the cookie be crumbling sometimes. There's that another Missouri linebacker, and funny enough, somebody, a Colorado player, retweeted that too. So be on the lookout. Maybe they add a little bit to the linebacker room. I heard some people were having some problems in the linebacker room. I saw a viral clip of Warren Sapp saying people was talking back. But hey man, if y'all want us to get deeper in that video, we can do that on another video. But hey, this is the big update from Deion so far in the portal. You watched some clips, had a good time. Let me know what else Deion needs in the portal. Let me know what your team needs in the portal. As a Texas fan, we just lost our wide receiver. I wouldn't mind a big body receiver. I wouldn't mind a little dynamicism like Colorado has. I think that would be dope. I think maybe another linebacker to bolster, you know what I'm saying, what we got going on. A little more beef on the defensive line because you can never have too much beef. But that's just me. That's just my feelings, man. Like this video if you like it. Dislike if you don't like it. Subscribe if you enjoy college football content, updates, NIL, transfer portal, everything else in between, man. We're going to keep you locked in here. Did I tell you to like it? Did I tell you to hit the bell icon? Well, do that, man. You're great. Keep being great. Be blessed, and we'll see you next time.